Chef Tech here, back with another video, and today we're going to be doing part 2 to the story that I did on my channel a while back. A while back, I did a video on how we got screwed over on our Volvo XC90. If you haven't seen that video, I recommend you go watch that video first before you watch this one, because this one will make a lot more sense if you watch that one first. I have a lot more videos coming up, so make sure you stay tuned. But let's get into part 2 of that story. So, a while back, my mom decided to purchase a 2020 Volvo XC90 that obviously the dealer offered her. You guys saw that video on how we got screwed over on it. And in the end, she took the car, and we had that car ever since. However, just a couple weeks ago, just about 1 or 2 weeks ago, the car was making a loud beeping sound. Like, the parking sensor was covered up by something. We were getting an error message saying the parking sensor was covered up by something. Parking sensors disabled or something like that. So I went to go outside to check the parking sensor, and it was not there. It was just a hole where it should be. Now, the way Volvo designed their parking sensors is that the bumper has the cutouts and then it's a separate part. Most cars actually do it differently. Most cars have the sensor built into the bumper and the wires are plugged into the bumper, which is how most people should do it. But Volvo has different ideas. So the parking sensor was gone, and it was making this really loud, annoying beeping sound to think that my mom was about to hit something, but in reality, it was completely fine. She wasn't about to hit anything. So she made an appointment at our local Volvo dealership, and that day, and when that appointment came, she took it in, and they said that they would have the car back in about 2 days. So as they were not doing loaners because of this kind of issue, cold thing going around, we left with only having one car, our Tesla, just the one. We only had one car, which honestly wasn't a big deal because we're not really going to be going anywhere anyway, so it really doesn't matter, but we only had one car now. So, 2 days later, my mom gets a call to say that her car is getting ready to her car is getting ready, is ready to be picked up from the dealership, and they would be parking it outside for her so she can get it, as well as that there is a $600 charge. Whoa, yeah, a $600 charge. Keep in mind, this $600 charge should have been covered under warranty on a brand new 2020 car. The car was also in for a recall notice of automatic braking, as you probably not have heard. Their Volvo 2020 Volvo had an issue with automatic braking. It was in for that, and it was also in for the parking sensor. Now, the $600 charge, she paid because they had to take the entire bumper off and side off to get the sensor popped back into the bumper. So she went to pick it up, and I didn't actually go, so she had to pick it up and bring it back home. I went to go outside to take a look at the car, and it was probably in worse shape than when we took it in. The bumper was misaligned. The piece of trim that was wiggling, yes, there was a piece of trim that was wiggling on the side, on the front passenger side, was wiggling, and it was also still the damaged piece. So she probably got sideswiped, and that's how the sensor came off. The sensor was popped back in, but the bumper was misaligned on the passenger side, and as well as the front wheel well cover was still wiggling. So she called and raised this to them, and they said to bring it back and we will fix it for absolutely free. But still paid the $600. So they tried again, and they said that it would be about a day until it's done. My mom said, take your time and actually get it fixed properly. And I don't know if they actually heard her or not, but they said okay, and they would bring it back. Next day, the Volvo dealer called and says her car is ready. So finally, we can have our perfect back together of our Volvo XC90. It was pouring rain when we arrived, and I went to go inspect the car at the dealership. Keep in mind the dealer was closed. We were picking it up after hours, and the car was still not fixed. That piece of trim was still wiggling. It was still the damaged piece, and the bumper was still misaligned. Now, what is the deal with having the bumper misaligned? It's not that. Obviously, it doesn't affect the car at all. However, before my mom took the car in, the bumper was perfectly aligned the way it is. Now it is misaligned, so I could say that that is a problem. Now again, my mom paid $600 for this repair. Obviously, the both other two repairs were absolutely free, but still pay the $600. I feel like that is completely absurd. What Volvo? Obviously, if you guys don't know what Volvo service places are for, they're there to repair Volvo's engine parts. So if you need new brakes, new tires, they can do it for you. New wiper blades, if you want to detail. If there's an issue with electrical, they can do that. But they don't do body work. The bumper and the wheel well thing are body work, and Volvo should disclose that they didn't actually do body work in the first place. However, they graciously accept my mom's car and took it in, and they took it in and they made it in worse cosmetically than it went when it went in. Now, keep in mind, this is a 2020 car, a 2020 Volvo that's having these issues. And in my opinion, a 2020 car that's having these issues is pretty much like really disappointing on my behalf, on Volvo's behalf and our behalf, because that we spent a fair share of money in buying this car. And again, we do own it outright, but if this is gonna happen every single time, this car is probably spending more time in the service bay than we've been actually driving it. To prove that, our Volvo, when we dropped it off, has 3,400 miles on it. Our Tesla, which we got after the Volvo, our Tesla Model 3, has 3,346 miles on it. So we're about to drive the Tesla more than the Volvo, which pretty much goes to show that that this car spent more time in the dealer than we've been actually driving it. I am not calling out any Volvo dealers. I'm just saying if a customer comes in with a bodywork issue, you should tell them that this is misaligned and this is misaligned, but we can't fix it. However, that didn't happen, and they still took the car in. Now, anyways, back to the story. On the way back, my mom wrote like a quaint email saying that this was probably the worst experience I've had at Volvo dealership, and that I either want the car fixed properly, or I want my money back. And can you recommend me a body shop so I can get the body work fixed? Again, we still haven't heard back from them because that was just yesterday, but this is honestly very disappointing for a 2020 car. This is kind of what happened with AirPods Pro. Now you might be saying, how does this relate to AirPods Pro? AirPods Pro and Volvos, how did that go together? Well, Volvo has had the XC90 out since around 2003, and AirPods Pro released, Apple made AirPods around 2016, and they kept that same design. Now, ever since October 2019, they decided to redesign the AirPod, and now people, including me, are having major issues with AirPods Pro, and are starting to say, why did I pay $250 for AirPods or headphones in general? Again, Volvo kept the same design of XC90 from 2016 to 2019. However, in 2020, they decided to redesign it and redesign the options and ways and use different materials. And obviously, you can already say that that hasn't worked out. That decision, now, again, were my AirPods perfectly fine? Yes. And why did I decide to upgrade to AirPods Pro? Because I feel like that as a company like Apple, they would know what they were doing, and anything from Apple is obviously perfect. I learned that obviously at the beginning they were great, and in the end they were not so great. Now, was my mom's 2017 XC90 fine? Yes, it was fine. It had like 30,000 miles on it, but after Volvo redesigned it, she decided they offered a deal that she couldn't pass up, and obviously she took the deal. There are obviously something that we can definitely learn from this, is that if you have something that is perfectly fine, don't hesitate to upgrade it, because obviously that after a redesign like that, there obviously are kinks, and Volvo has to work out those kinks like they are right now. So, if you are thinking about buying a 2020 XC90 or AirPods Pro, I would recommend you should hold off, hold the phone, and buy a 2019 XC90 or 2018 XC90. Those cars are way better built than the 2019 XC90s, and if you're thinking about buying AirPods Pro, don't right now. It's not a good idea. It's a waste of money. But for AirPods Pro, the positives overlay the negatives. For Volvo, I don't really think I can find any positives in that situation. So, that is what we have learned. We still haven't got our car back yet still no email, and I will update you guys what happens if my mom gets my money back. Here's what I'm hoping, that either 3 things happen. 1, my mom gets her money back, and Volvo recommends her a body shop. 2, I don't think this will happen, but they don't give her money back and there's going to be an issue. And 3, that she's going to have more problems with this car, and then this car's going to go back to the dealer at some point to get those problems fixed. Let me know what you think out of those 3 is going to happen. And yeah, I really kind of want our car back in perfectly cosmetic condition. So without further ado, I'll see you guys next time. Peace out. Coming in, yeah, flex. I just wanna win.